Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Watching this episode, there's there's one part where it feels like it's just repeating itself, like it's doing the exact same thing from when Marlena was the devil. You know, um, Morphing into someone else to do something. This way, it throws people off, and it makes um it works out in the devil's favor or is planning on working out in the devil's favor. And okay, so towards the end of the episode, I know I'm kind of going a little out of order, but towards the end of the episode, the devil morphs into EJ and he goes in the room and he starts hitting on Abby because, he's getting wind that Chad is going to sit there and change his testimony and it's going to mess up the devil's plans. So at first, during this whole testimony thing, um, when Chad gets on the stand, this is after Melinda starts to grill the hell out of him. I guess he felt like he was going to change his mind a little bit. But then when Bella starts to question him, he's about to sit there and tell, well, not the truth, but kind of throw himself under the bus. But before he's able to do that, the devil chokes him. So he has to, they take a recess. He go get something to drink. He talks to Abby for a little bit, but he doesn't tell her, what he's planning on doing. He's just sitting there saying, "Do you trust me?" Because Abby's sitting there thinking that he's going to perjure himself, and he's like, "Well, I'm not ish. I can't really sit there and say what I'm going to do because I don't want you to be an accessory, but you trust me, right?" No, no, not with that answer. No. Um, but she's like, yeah, whatever. Um, she's like, she's gonna stay there because she's, has a laptop or whatever. She's, gonna be doing some updates or whatever for the newspaper. So she's there by herself, and EJ walks in there, and Abby's like, should you actually be in here? And he does some sort of, oh, my lips are sealed or whatever. And he sits down. He's like, the way he looks at it, I was like, we're doing this again, aren't we? Literally, I was like, we're really gonna sit there and redo this again. And it's when he starts hitting on her, and Abby's like, yeah, okay, I don't know what you're doing. I got work to do. Why don't you go out there and pray or something? I don't know. But he continues to hit on her up until the point where he kisses her when Chad walks in there. So we already know how this is gonna go. Early before then, and I know I'm going out of order, but early before then, Johnny gets there. This is after Chad is, choking or whatever. And Johnny starts quoting some Bible script, some sort of Bible quotes or whatever about Cain and Abel and everything like that. And, AJ's just like, they're both looking at him like, what? Like, looking at him very sus, EJ and Bella. And Johnny's like, all right, so yeah, you still got to sign these shares. 1 second. So yeah, Johnny's like, you got to kind of you got to kind of sign these shares. This way I can sit there and have you back, just in case things go a little kind of sideways. And I already knew that Bella was going to be like, I don't know about that. And of course she was like, yeah, I don't, that's a little kind of, I mean, we don't even know how this whole thing's going to turn out. You want to sit there and just give him shares? Like, what are you doing? But Johnny is like, yo, listen. Because there's one point where I think who had those shares last? I think it was EJ. And EJ was giving the shares to Bella to take a look at because she was like, all right, whatever. Let me just take a look at it real quick. Johnny snatches it, and Johnny's like, listen, I get it. You're his lawyer. You're looking out for his best interest, but I'm his son. And you know what? I actually want some time with him, like on myself. So why don't you go and do something? And I'm surprised that EJ didn't sit there and call him out on it. But he signs the shares, and Johnny leaves, and Bella's like, you just gave over your shares, and you don't even know the direction of this trial is going to go. And basically sits there and says that you're operating on fear. You're not operating on logic. This is something that I've been sitting there saying since Johnny has been acting very weird and EJ's been knowing it. Like EJ, kind of looks at him like, what's going on? But he's been operating out of emotion, which is why he didn't really like he was calling Johnny out on a couple of things, but it seemed like the pride was taking over more than anything else. The minute that he, started facing the prospects of going to jail, and Johnny being like, "All right, listen, let me get you back." If this was any other circumstance, he would have been like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." But because he's operating on fear, he's operating on emotions. He's been letting a lot of stuff slip with Johnny. And the thing is, when this whole thing comes out, and hopefully EJ's free or whatever, he's gonna be kicking himself because there's been so many times that he should have been questioning him. And he's gonna be like, if I would have actually just stopped and took a look instead of just, oh, he's my son and he loves me and he's finally, giving me the admiration or whatever, like he's gonna question himself. He's gonna be kicking himself a lot. So Lucas comes back because he's, going to be testifying, and he comes into the pub of, like Brady's pub or whatever, talking to Kate. And, at first he's all like, EJ's going to sit there and get his, he kidnapped Sammy, this, that, and the third. And Kate's like, yeah, I know it was you. Okay. So you can stop all the bravado and everything like that. Like, I know it was you. Um, and at first Lucas tried to deny. Kate's like, yeah, Chad told me. Damn Damaros. He's like, yo, listen. Long story short, he's gonna sit there and turn himself in. Mind you, earlier possessed Johnny was sitting there looking at Stefano's picture, monologuing like a damn DC villain. Um, and somehow he went from there to overhearing, the fact that Chad's gonna sit there and turn himself in and, kind of throw himself, onto the sword or whatever. Which is why he got there just in time to choke the life out of him to make sure that Chad didn't, throw himself under the bus. Which is fine now because now now we all know after watching this episode that he's going to sit there and testify against EJ like there's no tomorrow. Which is fine for now, but it's one of those things where it was like laugh now, cry later. Like, bro, you and Lucas, falsify evidence, um, and wrongly convicted EJ, both of you are going to be doing time. So laugh now and cry later. You think that you getting one over on EJ now? Trust me, bro. At the very least, I think prison would actually be a lot safer than you being on the outside. Because when EJ finds out, good luck. Also, there's one point where you know Lucas is sitting there talking to Kate, and he says something like, feeling guilty or whatever, or something along those lines. And Brady and Chloe walk over, and Brady's like, well, what are you feeling guilty about? Now, long story short, Chloe is still, a wreck, because they haven't found Philip or anything like that. And, Brady's sitting there getting updates from Steve, and he's like, listen, we find Kristen. We may get closer to finding, Philip. Also, Chloe's mother has been calling her nonstop. Now, at first, it was about finding out what's going on with Chloe and how she feels, but Chloe's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it right now until we find any more information. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's running my thoughts 24/7. That's when Brady's like, yo, let's go get something to eat. And then they get there and they're like, and, Brady's like, so what do you have to feel guilty about? Now, Lucas lies, and all four of them kind of split up. So Brady's like, listen, I got to talk to you, to Kate. And he tells her about, Steve trying to find Kristen. This way they can get closer to try to find Philip in case Kristen has Philip. But Kate's like, yeah, you need to sit there and stop doing that. Like, you need to sit there and drop the investigation. They got, Victor, his people sitting there looking for Philip, and, Steve's just going to get in the way. Then she's just like, all right, I don't want to sit there and know if Philip is dead. Every day that I don't have any answers is a day that I still have hope. And Brady's like, what? I was like, he's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, but none of that tracks. Meanwhile, Lucas is just looking guilty as hell, and Chloe's like, what's going on with you? I'm like, bro, you do realize that at one point she was married to you, right? Like women actually pick up on those things. You may not think that they do. Um, anyway, at some point, I guess Kate leaves, and Lucas, he heads to the courtroom, in courthouse. And Brady's like, I just talked to Kate, and she's acting a little kind of off. Like she's acting way off. Um, saying that she doesn't want too many people to find out, try to find Philip because, you know, every day that, she doesn't get any answers is a day that, she can sit there and not have to worry or hear the bad news. And both of them just like, yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But then Chloe starts talking about her mother, and out of nowhere, her mother shows up. And at first, Chloe's like, yeah, well, you came all the way to New York. I mean, you came all the way from New York to sit there and find out how I'm doing. And by the way, what is her mother's name? I feel like we're operating. I feel like it's deja vu. Like when Grace, on Bold and the Beautiful showed up, and no one bothered to sit there and say her name. And I'm like, guys, hey, so I'm kind of new here. Is it any way that you can sit there and say her name like once? I got a pen right here. I can just write it down. No, no, we're just all expected to know. Okay, cool. Um, so yeah, her mother shows up, and her mother's like, "No, this isn't about you. This is about like your father," saying that she thinks that he's having an affair on her. And I'm kind of just like I look at that in a little bit, and I'm just like, aren't y'all too old to be doing that? Like, I know here's the thing. I know people cheat at at any and almost every age, but I feel like at that point, like you're already towards the third act of your life. What are you doing? If you're in your, I mean, granted, there is no justification, and I'm not the champion cheating at all, but I'm like, if you're in your 20s, your teens, maybe even your late 30s, once you get up to your 40s, it's just like, what are you doing? Like you risked it all for a couple of rides in the hay or mattress tag. Like really? So when she was like, "Oh, I think your father's having an affair," it's like, how old is he to be sitting there doing that? Like I feel like at some point it's like, all right, bro, come on, like what are you doing? Really? The third act of your life, and this is how you want to go out? Like really? I can't be the only person that just feels like at some point, maybe you should just kind of be like, you know what? You've been along with me for the ride this whole time. And although I've been thinking about, well, pretty much a lot of other girls or a lot of other women been with me through the end. Seems kind of a shame to sit there and just, you know, blow it all up to hell now. I know I can't be the only person that thinks that. And I forgot to sit there and say this. Even Bella noticed that there was something off with Johnny between, you know, his suddenship and, you know, his career path, him quoting, you know, like Bible quotes and stuff like that. It just seemed like even she knew it was kind of off, but it's one of those things where it's like it's easier for her to see that, you know. I mean, yeah, she loves Johnny and everything like that, but you know, EJ is obviously too close to the situation, and EJ isn't stupid. Very smart, calculating, and logical man. But, you know, emotions could sit there and blind anyone. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. So, with that being said, yeah, so by the way, what is Chloe's mother's name since you know, they didn't really bother to sit there and say it. If they did, I gotta sit there and either turn it up or volume up or you know, get my damn hearing checked. But yes, if those weren't the cases, please let me know what her name is because that would be really helpful. I saw the previews a little bit. I know it's going to be a little bit more involving her, so it'd be nice to actually know her name. So when they refer to her, I can sit there and say other than Chloe's mom. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Have a great, amazing, and safe weekend. And I will see you in the next video.